I heard you on the wireless back in 52, lying awake intently tuning in on you. If I was young, it didn't stop you coming through. They took the credit for your second symphony, rewritten by machine on new technology. And now I understand the problems you could see. I met your children. What did you tell them?
Video killed the radio star. Video killed the radio star.
Pictures came and broke your heart. And now we meet in an abandoned studio. We hear the playback and it seems so long ago. And you remember the jingles used to go. You were the first one. You were the last one.
Video killed the radio star. Video killed the radio star.
In my mind and in my car, we can't rewind, we've gone too far.
Video killed the radio star. Video killed the radio star.
In my mind and in my car, we can't rewind, we've gone too far. Pictures came and broke your heart. Put the blame on
Video killed the radio star. 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 Video
Now for something completely different. We begin this episode of the 7th House going back to the year 2006. The first album from Frost, the album is called Million Town, and the song that you just heard was called Hyperventilate. We will wrap up the program with something else from the Million Town album in about 2.5 hours as we kick off the mid-October episode of the 7th House live this evening and in living color, and it's a good thing you can't see me. We'll be here till about 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and we are brought to you live every Monday evening, courtesy of the fantastic people at the House of Prog, www.houseofprog.com. Lots of things for you this evening. I have a long set of 5 by the Moody Blues, honoring the musical legacy of John Lodge, founding member and bass player of the Moody Blues, who passed away last week, so we'll do that a little later on. We started the program by saluting MTV. From 1980, the Buggles, from an album called The Age of Plastic. The song you heard was called Video Killed the Radio Star, and as we all know, that was the first video aired on MTV. MTV announced last week that they were no longer going to do music programming, which I thought was unusual because I thought they stopped about 10 years ago. Be that as it may, lots of great music for you. Let's get on the highway right now. This is Deep Purple.
Life's the same, I'm moving in stereo. Life's the same, except for my shoes. Life's the same, you're shaking like tremolo. Life's the same, it's all inside you. It's so easy to play up your breakdown. It's so easy to fly through a window. It's so easy to move with the sound.
The first set of the evening, 3 songs in the set. We wrap it up with the Cars, out of Boston, Massachusetts, from their debut album, self-titled album, 1978. The song that you heard was called Moving in Stereo. Before that, your Yes Fix of the evening, and yes, it is a short Yes Fix of the evening, from Drama, 1980, a song called Man in a White Car. And we started off with Deep Purple, classic heavy metal music from 1971. The album is Machine Head, Ian Gillian on the vocals, Richie Blackmore on guitar. The song that you heard was called Highway Star. It is the 7th house on this Monday evening. We're here until about 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time. As we said at the top of the show, going to do a little bit of a deeper cut, a deeper listing of some Moody Blues pieces in honor of John Lodge. We also have some contemporary progressive music coming up after a bit. 4 songs from current progressive bands that you might like. In addition, we got The Who, we got Genesis, we got some Marillion, got some Riverside, brand new music from Donny McCaslin, so we're going to do a little jazz for you later on. But right now, we're going to go back to 1979 from an album called The Pleasure Principle. This is one of the blueprints for synthesizers in the 1980s. This is Gary Numan.
picture frame from an old ironing board. I was so excited, we had no money, it's all we could afford. Go-kart, go-kart, lined up at the start. Go-kart, go-kart, I hope it doesn't fall apart. Go-kart, go-kart, made up of all parts. I am proud of this moving art. My friends were amazed when I arrived at the top of the hill. They all thought it would fall to bits. I told them all to chill. The weekend had arrived. I was filled with anticipation. This funny looking cart with wheels that looked off rotation. Go-kart, go-kart, lined up at the start. Go-kart, go-kart, I hope it doesn't fall apart. Go-kart, go-kart, made up of all parts. I am proud of this moving art. Go-kart, go-kart, lined up at the start. Go-kart, go-kart, I hope it doesn't fall apart. Go-kart, go-kart, made up of all parts. I am proud of this movie. Go-kart, go-kart, lined up at the start. Go-kart, go-kart, I hope it doesn't fall apart. Go-kart, go-kart, made up of all parts. I am proud of this moving. Go-kart.
My uncle has a country place that no one knows about. He says it used to be a farm before the motor law. And on Sundays I elude the ice and off the turbine frame. Too far outside the wire where my white-haired uncle waits.
3 songs in that particular set. We wrap it up with a band that I don't know how many people have ever heard of the band we just played. Oh, wait a minute. Everybody has, because they broke the internet last week. We wrap up the 3 songs in this set with something from Rush, from their album Moving Pictures from 1981. It's a song about a Red Barchetta. And of course, everybody knows the news about Rush, Geddy, and Alex going to tour with a brand new drummer, a young lady from Germany. If you haven't checked her out yet, please do. She's really good. They're also thinking about adding a keyboard player to become a 4-piece rather than a 3-piece. That way Geddy doesn't have to play keyboards and he can run around the stage playing bass and sing. It'll be fun to see, but I saw Rush on their final tour and it was freaking amazing, and that's the memory I'm going to keep of Rush for sure, seeing them live for one last time. Before that, we had some brand new music out of Australia, actually out of Thailand by way of Australia. Mark Trueack, lead singer of United Progressive Fraternity, lead singer of Unitopia. He has a brand new album out. The album is called Journey's Groove, An Adventure in Life. And we played a track from the album as the middle song in this set. The track that you heard was called Go Kart. The album itself is a autobiography. The protagonist throughout the album is Mark, and their songs about his life. Real cool album. I listened to it a couple times over the weekend. It's really good. You should check it out. He is on Bandcamp. We started the set of music with a song that kind of defines the 80s sound, or was one of the blueprints for the 80s sounds. Gary Numan, Cars from the Pleasure Principle, released actually in 1979, but Cars became a hit in 1980. You're listening to the 7th House on this Monday evening. Thank you very much for tuning in. We're here for another couple hours or so. Lots of time for you to grab your friends, let them know what you do on your Monday evenings. See if you can't get them to do the same. This is Elfonia. music in that set from Poland and from Mexico. What you just heard was something from Riverside from their 2016 album entitled The Eye of the Soundscape. That was a track called Rainbow Trip. Very much a soundscape. Before that, from Mexico, Marcela Bovio on the vocals. Her band at that time was called Elfonia. The album is called This Sonic Landscape, released in 2006. And the song that you heard was called Soundscapes. Marcela Bovio, now the lead singer of a progressive metal band known as Stream of Passion, and she also does a lot of work with Arjun Anthony Lucassen and his Aaron projects. You're in the 7th house. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hope everyone is doing well on this Monday evening, and that your week has gotten off to a real good start. We're here till 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Thank you for tuning in. We're going to turn up the progressive rock quotient in this next set. 3 contemporary bands, starting off with a band from England, brand new music from this band. Their new album is called The Land, the Sea, and the Air. The band is known as the Emerald Dawn. This is called Dancing with the Spirit.
Then the realm of kindred spirits, my heart is pure and bright. Going to reach the canopy of distant dreams.
is spinning, we go on our way, dreaming with eyes open, seeking the way. Life is a burden, and where is the moment to ease the pain? We would go all the way, hoping to find direction, remedy, peace of the mind. We have no choice but to travel the road where it takes us. Two words are calling us to decide if we leave all our dreams behind. We take the road where earth meets the sky, where the ancient trees welcome us
Smoke
songs in that set, we kind of featured some newer progressive bands with albums released in 2024 and 2025. I do hope you enjoyed that set. If you did, if you enjoyed the music that we played in that set, all of the artists that we featured are on Bandcamp. You can check them out. We wrapped things up with a band out of Hungary. The band is known as Maya. Their 2024 album is entitled Fading Tomorrow, and the song that you heard from the album was called Earth and Sky. A little bit of a Yes vibe, at least to me, on that track. I really like it a lot. The middle piece that we played was from France. The band is known as Oddleaf. Their debut album was released in 2024. The album itself is called Where Ideal and Denial Collide. And the song that you heard from that album was called Ethereal Melodies. And we started off with a band from England known as the Emerald Dawn. Their brand new album that was released last week is called The Land, the Sea, the Air. And the song that you heard from that album was called Dancing with the Spirit. Do hope you enjoyed that set of contemporary progressive music. One more contemporary piece that we're going to play for you before we get into a long set of moody blues. This is a band out of Germany. They are known as the Weever Sands. 2024 album, which is very cool and very interesting, is called Moonfish, Songs of Love and Water. This track is called Oh, I Said and Turned Vanilla.
Listen to this sound.
yeah.
Are you ready for this?
This is how we like to do it.
It's a band out of Germany. They are called the Weever Sands. If you're into the music of Mike Oldfield, that last track must or should appeal to you, I believe. A lot of Mike Oldfield influence in that track. It's really cool. Very creative. The band again is the Weever Sands. The album is called Moonfish, Songs of Love and Water. Released in 2024. Weever Sands are on Bandcamp. Check them out. And the song that we just played was called Oh, I Said and Turned Vanilla. Do hope you enjoyed the last couple sets of music. We're going to go way back now, late 1960s. Going to honor the Moody Blues with 5 songs in this set. Founding member and bass player John Lodge passed away last week, leaving, I believe, only Justin Hayward now as the only Moody Blues member that is still alive. So we're going to do 5 in this set. One of them is going to be a John Lodge solo piece, but the connecting between the 5 songs in this set is all of them were written by John Lodge. Going to go all the way back to an album called Seventh Sojourn, 1972. He's just a singer in a rock and roll band.
And if you want the
life strange? A turn of the page. Can read like before. Can we ask for more? Each day passes by. How hard man will try. The sea will not taste. You know it makes me want to cry, cry, cry. Wish I could be in your arms. To be one with your love. Wish I could be in your eyes. Looking back, there you were, and here we are. Isn't love strange? A word we arrange with no thought or care. Maker of despair. Each breath that we breathe, we love, we must leave to make us as one. We know it makes me want to cry, cry, wish I could be in your arms. To be one with your love. Wish I could be in your eyes. Looking back, there you were, and here we are. Isn't life strange? A turn of a page. A book without life. Unless with love we rise. To throw it away. To lose just a day.
when I thought nothing could get any better than this. You came along like the words of a song, I thought I'd never get to write. Simply magic, simply magic, simply magic. There's no other words. Take your time, every step you take, tread carefully. You are the future, you're my reason to believe. We are one in the world.
We did 5 songs in that set, all of them written by John Lodge of the Moody Blues, who passed away last week. We will count backwards and let you know what we just played. Song you just heard, of course, Ride My Seesaw. 1968, the album was called In Search of the Lost Chord. It was one of their earlier hits. Before that, you heard something called Candle of Life from their 1969 album To Our Children's Children's Children. The middle song of the set, the third song that we played, was something solo by John Lodge. The song you heard was called Simply Magic. It's from a 2015 album of his called 10,000 Light Years Ago. And we went back to 1972 to the Moody Blues album called Seventh Sojourn for the first 2 songs in the set. Isn't Life Strange? Boy, ain't that the truth. And I'm just a singer in a rock and roll band. You're listening to Crosswinds. No, you're not. You're listening to the 7th House. I'm surprised I don't make that mistake more often. But it is the 7th House on this mid-October Monday evening. I get so confused sometimes. Crosswinds is the other program I do with the House of Prague. It's a jazz program, and that leads me into the next song, because this is a brand new jazz song that we're going to play for you. This is from an album called Lullaby for the Lost. It is a new album from Donny McCaslin. He is a saxophone player out of New York City. Progressive rock fans and rock and roll fans may recognize his name. He was a member of David Bowie's last band. He was a member of the Black Star Band and is featured on that album by Mr. Bowie. As I said, his new album is called Lullaby for the Lost. This is a song called Kid. This is brand new music as we throw a little jazz at you this evening. A little bit of electronic in there as well, which I think is very cool. This is Donny McCaslin. His brand new album is called Lullaby for the Lost. He is on Bandcamp, and you can check out the rest of the album out there. The song that you just heard was called KID. Check it out. You may find yourself surprised by it. It's a very good album. You are listening to the Seventh House. We are approaching the top of the hour. We do this every Monday evening live, courtesy of the good friends and wonderful people at the House of Prog, www.houseofprog.com. We'll be here for another half hour. Going to get you into the last half hour by going back and doing something from The Who.
Is it just a trick of the light?
and let nobody know. Gone were the towers he had known from a child, along with the dream of a life. He travelled the wide open road, the blinkered arcade, in search of another to share in his life. But nowhere, everyone looked so strange to him. They got no horns and they got no tail. They don't even know of our existence. Am I wrong to believe in the city of gold that lies in the deep distance? He cried and wept as they led him away to a cage. Beast that can talk read the sign. The creatures they pushed and they prodded his frame and questioned his story again. But soon they grew bored as they preyed. The beast that can talk, more like a freak or publicity stunt. They got no horns and they got no tail. They don't even know of our existence. Am I wrong to believe in the city of gold that lies in the deep distance? He cried and broke down the door of the cage and marched on out. He grabbed the creature by the scruff of his neck, pointing out, beyond the bounds of your weak imagination lie the noble towers of my city, bright and gold. Let me take you there, show you a living story. Let me show you others such as me. Why did I ever leave? They got no horns and they got no tail. They don't even know of our existence. Am I wrong to believe in the city of gold that lies in the deep distance? He cried and wept. And so we set out with the beast and his horns and his crazy description of home. After many days' journey we came to a peak where the beast gazed abroad and cried out. We followed his gaze and we thought that maybe we saw a spire of gold. No, a trick of the eye, that's all. But the beast was gone and a voice was heard. They got no horns and they got no tail. They don't even know of our existence. Am I wrong to believe in the city of gold that lies in the deep distance?
From 1976, from the first album that Genesis recorded after Peter Gabriel left the band, the first album on which Phil Collins was the singer. The song you just heard was the title track, song and the album, called A Trick of the Tail. They made a music video for that song. Did you ever see it? Truly a high point in progressive rock. Not. It's not a very good video, to put it mildly. Before that, we heard something from The Who, from the album Who Are You, that was released in 1978, the last album that The Who did with the original band. It was the last album Keith Moon recorded before he passed away. The song you heard was called Trick of the Light. We're here till the bottom of the hour. One last set to leave you with before we close out with something from Frost. We start this set with something from Field Music.
One day I'll play you sounds that can't be made.
singing you from somewhere inside your head. You'll never hear them from the earth or the air. You'll never hear them from the outside world. You'll hear it happen inside you. You'll hear it happen inside you. Silence.
The last set of the evening for this episode of The Seventh House wraps up with something from Marillion, the title track to their 2012 album entitled Sounds That Can't Be Made. There's a song on that album called Gaza, probably their most overt political song. It's a long piece, but it's well worth listening to when you have the time. Before that, something from Field Music, from their album Limits of Language, released in 2024. The song that you heard was called Sounds About Right. One last song to leave you with, something from Frost. Before we get to that, just want to remind everybody that we do this live every Monday evening, 8 p.m. until 10:30 p.m., courtesy of our good friends at the House of Prog. That's Eastern Time, by the way. The House of Prog can be found at www.houseofprog.com. Bring yourself back next week, grab a couple of your friends, let them know what you do on Monday, see if you can get them to do the same. We'll have another 2.5 hours of music for you next Monday evening. Going to leave you this evening with something else from Frost. We started the program with something from their album Million Town. Going to wrap up the program with something else from their album Million Town. This song is called Black Light Machine, and until we meet again, may all of you be well, be blessed, and know that you are loved. You've been in the Seventh House, and I am the Mercurial Stranger.
I'm just a stranger and walking the black line. Boy to a soldier, I'm fighting a good fight. Sideways, I wanna go through a load of the danger.
with